Welcome once again. It's Terrence McCray and the Close the Deal Show. Today we're going to talk about new digital age. How so? For decades, and I mean decades, the world has continuously evolved into a technology world. And my guest today is not only famous in this particular area, but my guest has a tremendous impact in the new digital age in expanding with the organization that he and so many thousands of employees are a part of. So, ladies and gentlemen of the Close the Deal Show, I wish to welcome to you a very, very important person that I feel is becoming a close friend of mine, Mr. Brian Breckenridge. Welcome, Brian. Welcome.
Hello, good sir. It's a pleasure to be on the show. Look forward to it.
Oh, definitely.
I've been looking forward to being on the show for weeks.
Oh, it's a pleasure in having you.
Yes,
Welcome
sir.
to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I have to ask you, Brian. You know, you've been doing a lot of tremendous work for a company that a lot of people don't know about, but for a lot of people in corporate America know about it, especially in Silicon Valley. I'm talking about Box.org and Box Incorporated. Okay? Could you, share, some of the stuff that you have done with your company to our viewers so they can get a little bit more familiar with the understanding of the new digital age?
Oh, absolutely. So I work for a company called Box.com or Box Inc. And, the company Box helps over 85,000 different organizations keep track of all of their files, all of their content in a very secure way. So if you just consider a bank or a hospital or a nonprofit, they have millions of videos and pictures and documents and things like that they're trying to keep secure. So Box, about 13 years ago, came around and said, hey, we think when people are working together and working on important projects together, they need a great place for that work to get housed in this digital way. So all those years ago, they had this idea, and then a few companies and a few individuals, and then a few more companies, and next thing you know, tens of thousands of companies and millions of people are now organizing what they work on in the internet by using the Box service.
So what companies actually work with Box?
So my area of specialty for the company is to make sure that our nonprofits, really large and really small around the whole world, are using Box. And so some examples there are great big organizations like Oxfam or the Nature Conservancy, or these other really large global organizations who have like 5, 6, 7, 8, or 10,000 or even 40 or 50,000 employees that are doing good work for that nonprofit. And then they have all of the information that they're working on stored up in the internet on the Box platform. But we also serve about 7,000 nonprofits. So there's even local nonprofits like BA, like the great organization that's helping us put together today's show as a community organization. There's many thousands of organizations like this around the country that are keeping track of all of their files and their media on Box as well.
Well, share with the viewers, how partnershiping with Box would impact their nonprofit.
Yeah, so if you were a nonprofit organization and you realized that when you're out there raising money for your work, or you are doing a program that's, let's say, mentoring youth, or let's say that program is making sure that our streets are clean, or making sure that everybody has an equal opportunity to employment. Regardless of what that organization is working on, there's probably a lot of needs for that organization to stay organized, to work together with the people that are supporting them, like their sponsors and like the people that they're working with. And that's what Box helps them do. So a nonprofit organization could just go out to the Box.org website and we would donate access to the Box service to that organization. And so we've been donating Box to 4,000 or 5,000 organizations. And then there's a few thousand that are a little bit larger that have more staff, or they need some other things that Box does that's more sophisticated, so they need upgraded access, and we discount that heavily. And then let's just say then when those thousands of organizations that spend some money on Box to have a subscription to use it for their staff, or maybe their staff and their board, we take a percentage of what they're gracious enough to give to us, and we put that back into a fund. And then the Box.org fund is also a place where we can do more philanthropy, and we can give more back to these nonprofit organizations and help them be successful. So that's pretty much what we're working on and how nonprofits can come take advantage of that.
So how did you become the person that you are today to get in the position that you are dealing with Box and being the head of the nonprofit department?
Well, I've answered that question with some good friends lately and people that I've just met at, I was even in Boston this week working at a big trade show, and I was one of the people presenting up on the stage, talking about, and this particular event was like about 1,300 different people, and their job is to do fundraising for nonprofit organizations. So they're like the vice president of fundraising for all these different nonprofits. And I was just sharing with them a little bit about my journey during that talk. And for me, I realized as a very young person living in Kansas, growing up in a small town back there, that if you give back to your community, not only is it good for the community, but actually it really feels good.
Scout's honor?
Yes, Scout's
Okay.
honor. Thank you. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful. Exactly. So for me, like that mindset of like, giving back and trying to be less selfish, even when I was a kid, I realized I needed to keep doing that when I was getting my jobs. When I came out of college, I just realized, hey, if I'm going to go work for companies, I would like for those companies to have volunteering programs. And so I was lucky enough to start working at Salesforce.com pretty much right when it started up back in 2000, 2001. And one of the main reasons I joined the company is because they appreciated people that did volunteering work as well as a company. So
Okay.
then I signed up there and I worked there for 10 years and then worked at LinkedIn. And for 4 years, I've been in charge of this stuff over at Box, in part because I was a Boy Scout growing up, and in part because I just wanted to join companies that were giving back to the community and not being overly selfish.
So how is Box.org structured with Boxing?
That's a really good question. A lot of people do ask that too. So Box.org itself is not a separate nonprofit. It's an initiative that's set up inside the company. And so for a lot of the viewers on your show who are executives at companies or who have started up companies, I always would want to say to them, think about building something into your company that the more successful that the company is, the more that you're giving back. And so that's what that structure is for Box.org at Box as a company. We're set up as an initiative, but we're not a foundation on the side. We're not just a volunteering part of the company that sits out on the side. We sit right under the chief operating officer, and we operate within the company as an initiative so that we are serving the nonprofit sector much like we serve our other customers. So the nonprofit partners of ours, we're volunteering with them, we're providing donated technology to them, we may even be making financial donations to them, but we work hard to treat them like our top customers instead of just grantees that we're doing philanthropy work with. Again, we brought this initiative inside the company, and I think that's what makes it a little bit even more unique.
So since you've been with Box.org,
4 years, yep.
4 years.
Scout's honor.
So tell the viewers as well as people that are looking all over the world, what is one of the most proud examples that you've partnered with companies as well as nonprofits?
Yeah, so there's a lot that makes me proud because right now Box has about 2,000 employees, and over 1,000 of those employees are starting to make donations and go volunteering. So we've already got half the company involved in volunteering and financial support of nonprofits. And so there's a lot of examples that I could share, right? There's hundreds of examples every year of things that Box and Box.org are doing for nonprofits and communities that I'm proud of. Make no mistake, I'm very proud of that. But one example really, really shines through for me. There's an organization that was started by this unbelievable entrepreneur that I'll introduce you to. His name is Sixto Cancel. And Sixto grew up through the foster care system and just had a lot of challenges that faced him when he was growing up. Well, he a couple of years ago started this organization called Think of Us.
Okay.
And it's a life coaching platform that would help young people that are living through the foster system when they're starting to age out, when they get older, find a job, find a supportive group of adults that can support them to get educated, to be healthy, to find an economic opportunity. And so he's been building this digital platform that's called the Think of Us platform. And their website is thinkof-us.org. And so if you think about the way that Box.org is working with Sixto and his organization, Think of Us, we donate our technology to his nonprofit organization so that they can be organized and secure. We've also used the technology at Box so that when a foster youth is using his system and they need to store their documents, like their birth certificate or their license or their grade card or something about their health, they can save it on this platform, and that's powered by Box. And we're also making some financial contributions to the organization. We also have volunteers that are providing their technology skills to Sixto and his nonprofit organization. And we're also going to feature Sixto and his organization at our big conference, which we normally have between, say, 8,000 and 10,000 people come to our conference. And Sixto is going to be one of the keynotes talking about his work for foster youth on the main stage at the conference. So when you think about that, I'm really proud of that because here's an organization that, it's a smaller nonprofit, but what they're working on using technology to serve youth so that their journey through the foster system is better and easier and smoother is going to work better because Box's people, Box's technology,
Correct.
Box's assets, some of our financial effort is going to help go into making that possible. Well, guess what? Now you've got the technology of Box, not just powering companies, but powering the lives of foster youth, and making those lives even more successful.
Correct.
So that we're like a success machine. That's what we're working on.
That
Success for
sounds
people, success for nonprofits.
Definitely. So ideally, right, what it sounds like to me is you don't worry about, how small the business is or how small the nonprofit is.
That's right.
You're more concerned of working with the people to show them how they can build their company.
That's right.
So what small businesses or nonprofits should reach out to you, regardless of, whatever vision they have, what could they do to reach out to you to learn more technology to expand their business or their nonprofit?
Yeah, make no mistake, this digital age requires that you have the right tools to do that. Like whether it be the Close the Deal show, which is a growing enterprise, or like you'd said, a small business or a small nonprofit, or even a major corporation. The way that you work together with your sponsors, with your guests, with your partners, with your vendors, the way that you work together needs to be powered in a digital way. So our theme is that Box is powering the way that the world works together. So as I see it, it'd be pretty easy for somebody just to go out to box.com/company, or if they're a nonprofit, box.org, and learn more about how this technology could help them. But if they are a nonprofit specifically, and that's work on powering the way that the world does good together, they can learn more about, as a nonprofit organization, how Box technology and volunteers and financial support can help them be successful in this digital age.
So what is next for box.org?
So for us, it's now that we have like 1,000 of our employees or more that are starting to do volunteering work, we want them to start moving that volunteering from more general volunteering to more skilled. So if it's a lawyer at the company or if it's a software developer at the company, we want them to be able to share those skills more and more with nonprofits. We also launched the Box.org Fund a couple of months ago. So we're looking at who some of our investments are going to be so that we can move some of our financial support to some important organizations. But what's really exciting that's coming up here in just the very near future is what we call BoxWorks. And that's that big conference I was talking about. But we make that conference something that nonprofits can come to at no cost. So though many people that go to the conference may have to pay an admission to the conference, we provide full scholarships to nonprofit organizations. And that big conference comes up, I guess it's on August 29th and 30th. And if you're a nonprofit or a business, you can go out and check it out at box.com/BoxWorks.
So what does that scholarship consist of?
So that particular scholarship just means that an individual that's a nonprofit leader could come to the conference at no cost. So instead of spending $400 or $500 or $10 or $1,100 or $1,000 or $1,100, they can come to the conference the first night and the second day and the third day, full days, for networking, for all the trainings, for all the content, for all the keynotes, all the breakout sessions at no cost.
So you telling me that a nonprofit organization that wishes to expand its nonprofit to a different level than what it is right now could get free training?
That's right. That's right.
So Box.org is willing to educate the public?
There's no doubt. We're willing and excited, frankly, to educate every nonprofit in the world on how they can be more secure in the digital age, how they can raise more money in the digital age, how they can deliver better programs and meet their mission in the digital age. That's what we're all about. That's Box.org's mission in a nutshell right there.
So how could nonprofits sign up for this?
So right now, a nonprofit could go to box.com/BoxWorks and then just kind of click around a little bit until you see the section that talks about the nonprofit scholarship, and then they can apply. And that comes into my office, and we take a look at it. We make sure that it's a nonprofit, and then we send them a code, and then they can register with that free code.
That is a public announcement. Now, here it is, Brian. You've been doing this for so long.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And I mean, for so long, all your life you've been giving back. You've been sharing a gift that someone had to teach you at an early age. Who could that have been?
Well, I know for sure that my parents are all incredibly loving people. That's kind of the way of the world in Kansas as well, is the communities really take care of each other. And so I think I saw that a lot in that small town. whereby we pretty much knew everybody in the town, so we were always taking care of each other there. Sometimes it's not a good thing, it turns out, when everybody knows everybody, but sometimes it's actually really helpful. And so I would say, in large part, it was from coming up from a place where families took care of other families and took care of each other in that way. But otherwise, I think a lot of it for me too is when I was probably, I don't know exactly, but sometime around college, I realized that principle of karma. And the more that you're doing right by people and doing right by the world, the more that's going to manifest that's positive for you. And so for me, I learned that piece at a pretty early age as well. It's just like, as I started to give back more, I realized, wow, this is opening up more opportunities for me. Instead of shutting doors, it's opening doors. So in some ways, it was like the more that I gave and the more I supported other people, the more wonderful things that started to come back to me. So it was pretty obvious.
Yes.
I needed to do that.
Definitely. So if you wanted to share something that you've learned in the last 6 months to a nonprofit, what would that be?
What have I learned in the last 6 months that would be of benefit for nonprofits? I think that the thing that I'm realizing the most for nonprofits generally is that they need to overall start to get more and more capable in building business cases for technology for the nonprofits, right? The technology that Box has, the technology that all of our other sister and brother companies have are excellent for nonprofits. But if they don't have like a strategic plan and they're not ready to go share, help work with their donors, help their financial supporters to invest in the technology, then it's even tougher for them to kind of realize their dreams, regardless of what those dreams are. It might be educating more kids, like I said. It might be, addressing the needs when there's disasters, whatever it is that they do. Especially the technology people in the nonprofit world need to continue to get better and better at building that business case to get more investment to build technology so they can do more good that they do. And that's something that's becoming more and more clear to me the more that we do this work.
So in other words, it sounds like to me, you have to close the right deal.
There's millions of deals that need to be closed by the nonprofit world. Trust me, closing deals is also a nonprofit thing. It is not only for corporations, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yep.
Well, Mr. Breckenridge,
Yes,
it is
sir.
not only a pleasure in having you, but the viewers should truly learn something from what you just shared to the public, especially any nonprofit. I've had several nonprofit organizations come on this show and talk about what they're actually doing, but here it is, you're offering a free workshop with today's technology. If that's not closing the right deal for them not to sign up, then I don't see how your nonprofit is going to continue on.
Yeah, they have to make these digital decisions. I agree.
Oh, it's truly a pleasure. I want to thank you for coming on the show.
No, it's my pleasure.
I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge and your information, right? But most importantly, I want to thank your organization.
Thank you, Terrence.
Because your organization has opened up doors for me when I had the opportunity to come visit, which is how I was able to meet such a fine man.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's an honor to be here on your show, and I'm a big fan of yours, and I'm wishing you the best, and I look forward to helping open a lot more doors as your organization keeps maturing and doing the good work.
I like to hear that, and I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you.
Absolutely.
There you have it. A man of integrity, a man of honesty, but most importantly, a Scots honor man. So keep that as a token. A lot of times people tend to go off who they know, but you never know who you might meet or what you might hear. Today you heard some good information. So close the right deal and sign up for a free workshop at box.org in order for your nonprofit to reach to that next level. Monday nights at 8:30 on Channel 29. Tune in so you can close the right deal.